We all have all kinds of, oh, this is a good mic, hello. Hey. We all have things we're just carrying with us, several books. I'm going to begin reading from Thief in the Interior in my book. I have copies if people are interested. And then I'm going to close out reading a couple of pieces from the Missouri Review. And this is for timing myself. Sonnet with a cut wrist and flies. 1. Blade to the soft and the soft flashed open was a breakage of robins. 2. Blood dripped to the floor, splashed on the tile, painted a big toe. 3. The slit would talk back, sweet nothing and a red gown. 4. Wrist, noun. The carpus or lower part of the forearm where it joins the hand to explore the joint, window hinged on the edge of the body to slice it, to peek into the cut and find the ribbon. 5. Blood veined by the rhapsodic. 6. A single mouth, its total face. 7. Risk, verb, to expose to the chance of injury or loss, hazard, to risk one's life, as the mind was made enterable, a boy stepped into, was natural in him, was his, and spectacular. 8. And arteries plucked quatrains, perfected through wreckage, a man waited in the pulse. 9. A man found in the wrist who wanted out, but who put him in. 10. He spoke the 4 languages of the heart. He would touch, the boy would. 11. Hurt the boy and translate his screams into a 5th vernacular. 12. The boy he entered was put into no more than an urn, than a tawdry vessel. 13. Sacrifice, noun. A giving up of something valued for someone or something else considered to be of more value. The radius giving itself to the owner, the man himself hidden in the dark creases of vein rope and contraction, and arteries hierophant drum. The man, 13, stepped out of the dark and into where the cut welcomed the room's wattage. 13, stepped into the light, his face a cut, a black hyphen from which all speech. 13, from which all darkness was made legible. 13, the single mouth, his total face. 13, he would touch and call himself many names. 13, call himself a god, but he was no god. 13, but was easy to believe him a god, to walk to him, to relive how he got there. 13, stutter and suck. 13 was the sound of the cut closing in on them both to hold them there. 13, as before in the dark, when no one was around, blood wowed with knowledge. 13, the man approached, was a knowledge himself, his face the one written page. 13, his option the sole option. He would take the boy, be mnemonic, be what had always been prefaced to. He reached out his hand. 14, and his fingers, thumbnail carving the boy's cheek, touched like flies. One more for the book, from the book. Durag. Oh, darling, the moon did not disrobe you. You fell asleep that way, nude and capsized by our wine, our bump and grind shenanigans. Blame it on whatever you like. My bed welcomes whomever you decide to be. Hung mistress, bride's bouquet, John Doe in the alcove of my dreams. You can quote verbatim an entire album of Bone Thugs and Harmony with your ass in the air. There's nothing wrong with that. They mince syllables as you call me yours. You don't like me but still invite me to your home when your homies aren't near enough to hear us crash into each other like ours. Some men have killed their lovers because they loved them so much in secret that the secret kept coming out. Wife gouging her husband with suspicion, churches sneering when an usher enters. Never mind that. The sickle moon turns the sky into a man's mouth slapped sideways to keep him from spilling what no one would understand. You call me God when it gets good, though I do not exist to you outside this room. Be yourself or no one else here. Your do-rag is camouflage patterned and stuffed into my mouth. Now these poems are very long, so I'm going to possibly jump around. I'll start with the first poem that appears in this issue, which is a fantastic issue. It's beautiful. It's called The Field. If you would like to follow along, it's page 63. Let's collaborate. Let's do this. The Field. The battered field is hateful without remorse, is as seductive as what is familiar. A wild horse who long ceased being horse had become beauty itself, failing as the field has failed, or someone has failed the field with overuse. The gray soil too sparse, its blonde grass and tight nubs and stiff as scimitars that jut from the earth declarations of war. The barrenness cannot feed the hares who feed the foxes who feed the bloodlust of men. There is a dead dogwood stunted in its naked reach. A storm rolls over the jagged boughs that rake the soft belly of the blackened air until lightning clarifies its scars. Scimitars could scar a belly with their sharpness, with their curves like a gleaming succubus sliding on each nerve's nylon until the harp is undone. Or the harp is played to the tune wind makes undressing in an arid field. This is love, if someone says so. A man weeps to soft music in his house, though nothing can hear him outside his window. His mouth like a ripple in a pond after a frog leaps out, then leaps back in, a word spoken by mistake that the speaker never wants to take back. The word could be like love too if broken, more broken than the shrill gate outside, swinging open then shut, obliterating entrance and exit. Here waits the god whose flute reveals and hides the way. She is mischievous with her song, coming off the rusted hinges. The gate is flanked by 2 stone pillars, both topped with pots that once held lavender, but now hold moldy soil, one sweet smell deposed by another. Rot and the bones left bare is the story of the hare and fox, while the felled horse crafts the field's ugliness, its ghost hooves crushing the ground. Let the gate squeal shut against that bestiary. The world's revision of itself roils through the sky, storm of bruised clouds, lightning and the last living beast revealed in bursts. First, its outline, next, its distant maw made clear in that moment of light, then 2 golden eyes, an abacus by which to count the days. I'll see if I can read the entirety of Blade to Tear Away the Good Flesh.
Yes.
Oh, mercy. Hey!
Very good.
Yes. 1. Your patience is required, but you won't be forced to give it. Not here while I'm on my knees, butt naked and trying hard to find the right words. Deskless, the fan going for noise because it's lonely on this end, and sometimes the air does touch me, and I am grateful to feel. I see my reflection in the screen and wonder who would want to touch me this way. Growing up, I thought nothing about everything. Or was it everything about nothing? Obliteration, even then, seemed more like real than what we call real. Abandoned houses, ugly on the block. The grass, ugly too, yellowed candy wrappers in its teeth. The empty lot across the street where the brown brick house burned down, then down some more. A woman and her 2 sons had lived there. We never spoke to them, my mother and I, but we went into our closets, emptied them of clothes, couldn't stop ourselves from giving everything away to that family. Call it the Lord, call it love. To this day, I own very little to put on my own body. As though being cold is some way to live, as though being naked could save a life. 2, you're not supposed to say you are thinking about suicide because people will think that you are suicidal. I have been thinking about suicide. I am not suicidal. Thank you for trusting me with myself. My friends, life is hard. It is the one job we have that we rarely do well, but it ends the same for everyone with the body. The spirit is someone else's job to consider. My grandmother gave up the ghost, as they say, in the room beneath me. Cancer, diabetes, the house creaks for her body. This is not pathetic fallacy. This is a black household where things speak all the time that should not. And why shouldn't they? Just this morning, the floor buckled beneath my weight. The wood was some animal's home once, some tree a child climbed and maybe loved. I would cry out too for love. Isn't that what I'm doing now? I'm not supposed to write things like that or share them if I do, but this is one life I can't take and neither can you. My friend, the one with all the hair, took peel after peel after peel after peel after peel. I could go on. He didn't finish there. Why should I? And what caused him to hurt so? Why did his father watch those men do that to him? After peel, after peel, after peel. What do you say to someone death did not want? Thank you. I mortify myself thinking about a sliced thumb, a run-in with scissors teaching my skin against arrogance. But what gets me the most upset is how I have the nerve to think someone would miss me, and all this quiet life would miss me. 3. The Jewish fraternity that threw the brown-faced party on campus, where they wore wife beaters and burned votive candles of La Virgen de Guadalupe, where they wore sombreros and the girls from the sorority across the street stuffed their shirts with fake pregnancies and wore hoop earrings while binge drinking Patron and Coronas. The Jewish fraternity woke up to a Cabbage Patch doll stuffed into a toy oven. On the oven's door, a typed note, "Is this funny too?" The ways we imagine destroying each other, such flexible cruelties. I speak to a man who looks like he could be my brother every morning, and all he can do is glare. To be bare in aloneness, when being alone with someone can be a terror equal to or beyond that of seeing your reflection flashing in and out of the hood of a car, the heat of it less lover than someone you've never met, who won't move, won't remove their heavy foot from your neck, your cheek turned so you don't even see yourself making the face only humility can break from you. And I can't tell which happens that causes the man to not speak back to me, that he hates seeing himself in me, or that he doesn't see himself in me, which means he's never truly seen himself. It could be neither. More than likely just narratives I throw over his face, unlike a veil, but holy water, icy, blinding, to wash him away. And then I'll close out with something from the book, which is not happy.
Unlike the last one.
Unlike the last one. These poems are paradise, I swear. I'll read the last poem, Birth of the Doppelganger. A wolf's entrails opened and I stepped into them. I stepped into the jowls of the dead, into the stench. Flies scoured the decayed innards like priests washing temple walls. It was ecstatic. The flipped over car, wolf teeth shining from gum swale above tongue, behind cheek, after blood spilled and my car spilled into all hell spilled, and you want to know what the taste was like? I tell you at the crash's wake was a new life. My new self bled out from the old self. I left behind a husk pricked by daggers of wood and lungs drunk off exhaust. Saw the one eye left in the split skull, watch my skin roll up like pantyhose, over the bones, over pristine muscle, blood hot and fresh. I walked away from car and corpse and made room for nothing but this body's first words. See my mouth move like this? Thank you.